originally I was adopted. And I always considered the luckiest thing that ever happened to me. And my parents made it so special because they always told me most people just get whatever child they have, but we picked you. So they always made it a very special thing, and I grew up to feel like it was something that made me, set me apart. My advice to anyone who happens to be listening to this is there are 4 things you need to learn to say. And in order to learn to say them, you have to have developed a sense of self-worth. You have to know that you are valuable at what you do and have confidence in that. And the 4 things are, I'm sorry, I was wrong, I don't know, help me. And you need to know when it's important to say those things and be able to say them sincerely. And if you do, it will help you in your professional life, it will help you in your personal life, it will make you a better person. My father was one of the most, well, he was the most remarkable person that I've ever encountered. What he did, the growth that he made from impoverished Depression era to a lawyer with a top firm in D.C., member of the Bar of the Supreme Court. He was so brilliant and so accomplished, but such a character, as were all the Ockershausens actually. But my dad was like the Pied Piper of children in our neighborhood. I talked about Woodacres growing up. He would tell these tall tales. He had people convinced we had bears and lions in the basement. I mean, he scared kids, he delighted kids. He was like some wizard with weaving spells. He was, I mean, sometimes I don't even know whether I really remember an event in my childhood or whether we created it from our mutual imaginations. I remember I talked about taking hikes. We hiked and we saw this wildcat in a cage. And we made this phantasmagorical story up about that experience. And I would always want to go off the path. I didn't want to take the path. I would always want to take let's go into the woods. And we would. I mean, he was very adventurous. He would take me skating on the frozen canal. Of course, he would always scare me like you're going to fall in. And I can remember I was going to go in a biplane. I was recording a television segment for a children's program in Washington, and the idea was I was a flying circus aerodrome in Virginia, and they were going to take me up. He literally made me sign my will before I left to do this, because I was certainly going to die at the experience. It was sort of like Snoopy and the Red Baron, because I had a scarf and the passenger sits in the front of the biplane and the pilot sits behind. But there is actually a steering mechanism at the front as well, although we were told not to touch it. But anyway, I went up in a biplane and no rolling. No, I said no rolling. I don't want to do the loop-de-loop. But he managed to make that a terrifying experience by making me sign all kinds of legal documents before I did that. But what a life full of abundant joy he led. And then I started writing about places I was exploring, places to take a family. And I put together a little booklet that I sold at consignment shops. And I also looked in the library and found places that published guidebooks and sent my little booklet to all of the local publishers. And I found an interest. And my first book of travel stories was published in let me look and see what it is. I'm not even sure. 1976. When they accepted it, they said, well, of course you're going to have to double it, and I want you to think of little funny subtitles for each one, like Deer Creek State Park, Rock State Park, Don't Knock the Rocks, and Dunbar Nope, A Blooming History Lesson. So we made funny subtitles for each one of the adventures in my one-day trip book, in and around Washington,